Welcome to day 30 of the 90-day no PMO system. Today you'll learn about the secrets of stoicism. That said, what is stoicism? We hear about all of these historical figures that preached the ideals of stoicism, and these ideals are often perpetuated through self-improvement content creators. But what even is stoicism? What does it mean? And furthermore, how can you apply it into your life in a practical and sustainable way? You're about to learn that. That said, what is stoicism? Stoicism is objective observation. It's as simple as that. Stoicism is synonymous with logic. Pretty much, that's all it means. Stoicism is synonymous with logic. When you are a stoic man, you are a logical man. Now, when we think about logic in most people's minds means the ability to observe things objectively and act in accordance with that objective observation. That's what it means, and yet so few people are able to effectively apply it. And the reason why is because they do not have the spiritual foundation. As a matter of fact, let's not even use the word spiritual. They don't have a foundation of faith on which to act upon this stoicism. Basically, to build off of yesterday's analogy with the film and the projector and the audience and the light, stoicism is your ability to go from being the image itself and the actors within the image or the projection, the movie, to being the audience, to being able to observe yourself and to actually become the projector as well, to understand that you are the projector and that you are capable of going within and fixing those internal components. But even beyond that, when I refer to the foundation of faith, stoicism is the understanding that the light will always shine into that projector. And so if you're not satisfied with the image that you see on the screen, first of all, understand that nobody's paying their money or their time to go and watch a movie that doesn't involve conflict. So, just like I've said throughout the 90-day no PMO system and the PMO relapse recovery guide, your conflict is what makes your story good. Your adversity is what allows you to tell your story and sell your story to people in such a way that you can make change while making change. You can change and transform people's lives while making money and even a living in the process. And I know this because I live this. I'm saying this to say that stoicism allows you to perceive adversity in a completely different light. And what this does is this allows you to, because you're observing it objectively, detach your emotions and thus prevent yourself from making decisions and taking actions based on your emotions. I said this before and I'll say it again. The difference between successful people and mediocre people is that successful people allow their actions to guide their feelings, whereas mediocre people allow their feelings to guide their actions. If you want to be successful, you have to be stoic. Now, this doesn't mean you have to shut off your emotions. We already touched on emotional mastery. You have to practice your emotions and experience your emotions in order to master them to get to this point. So you might not be able to instantly become stoic overnight. It might take you some time. It might take you well beyond the scope of this course. But you won't get there unless you start. And once you develop enough emotional mastery by observing your emotions, experiencing them and observing them for long enough, and observing the patterns and the tendencies within your emotions, then you can free yourself from your emotions, and as a result, you no longer act in accordance with them. You can then take action in spite of your emotions, and thus alter your emotions. You see, here's the thing about stoicism. Stoicism and objective observation, logic, rationality, whatever you want to call it, are basically predicated on this one understanding. And that is that the facts are reality. Your feelings about the facts are your experience. In other words, there is a discrepancy, there is a distinction to be made between reality and your experience thereof. You see, what you don't understand yet is that everything that you see around you is a projection of what's going on within you. When I said that you're a projector, I meant it in a metaphorical sense, but it's also true in the literal sense. If you think about everything that you can see right now, you see something, you see me on the screen, and you perceive this to be real. But the truth is that your eyes are simply absorbing light and sending those signals to your brain to determine what it's seeing. But everything is actually just energy. It's all energy particles. You only see things because your brain makes connections. Your brain connects dots, literally. It connects the particles in such a way that you perceive things as physical, material, and real items. And oftentimes people allow what they see to determine how they feel and what they believe. And if you do this, you will never be stoic because you'll be trapped in your emotions. You'll be trapped in your thoughts. You'll be stuck and stranded on that highway. But when you become stoic, you can get up onto that pedestrian bridge and observe your thoughts, even from a place of enjoyment. Even though you know that not all of those thoughts are beneficial for you, you can find yourself enjoying the act of observing them because you know that they can't harm you, they can't affect you. You'll be amused even. But in order to get to that point, you have to make that distinction between the reality, which is that everything is energy, that is the fact, and your feelings about the fact, which are heavily influenced generally by how you perceive energy, how you perceive this infinite expanse of neutrality. When you can align yourself with the infinite expanse of neutrality, you become stoic. By default, you have no choice but to become stoic simply because you understand that nothing is real. Nothing is real in the way that you perceive it to be because it's all based on how you perceive it. A blind man will not perceive this video in the same way that you do. Or a deaf man, or anybody else with any sort of impairments will not perceive this video the same way that you do. Or if you do have an impairment, you won't perceive this video the same way as somebody who doesn't have that impairment or has a different impairment than you. You perceive this world based on your limited perspective, which is, once again, your egoic identity. But when you learn to experience life from beyond your perspective, from beyond those impairments, from beyond this identity that you've established, which is an impairment in and of itself, then you open yourself up to the reality of life. You open yourself up to objective observation, which is literally just understanding that everything is energy. Now, once again, I'm not saying this to say that you should reject or suppress your emotions. That is actually the worst thing you can do if you want to become a stoic man who doesn't crumble, but actually becomes stronger in the face of adversity. Because you have to be aware of your emotions lest they'll control you. And when they control you, you will find yourself with the mediocre many instead of the fantastic few. The fantastic few are the people who have stepped beyond their emotions, no longer act in accordance with their emotions, at least the majority of the time, because nobody's perfect and you shouldn't expect yourself to be perfect. But they don't act in accordance with their emotions. They act in spite of their emotions and allow their emotions to be influenced by the actions that they take. And that's only possible because they are stoic. They see beyond a situation because a situation is simply a perception, a limited perception of an infinite expanse of energy. That's all anything is, ever has been, or ever will be. An infinite expanse of energetic particles. This is science. This isn't even religion. This is science. So if you're not a faithful person, this is literally science. This is quantum physics. Everything is energy. Even matter. Matter is energy as well. Because all matter is your perception of energy, densely packed energy that is, as a physical substance. And if you don't believe me, then meditate. Meditate and feel the energy exercise that I prescribe to you and see for yourself that everything is just energy. And in that moment, when you feel the energy, see if you are worried about anything in that moment. See if it's even possible for you to worry about something in the same way that you would if you weren't feeling the energy in that moment. You'll find it to be very difficult, if not impossible, to worry about anything or to be caught up in your worry from an emotional standpoint, because you'll understand that your worry is literally based on a false premise. It's based on a limited perspective. It's based on a limited perspective of an infinite expanse of energy. Once you understand that light will always shine through that projector, you will be stoic. And when you become stoic, you will become unstoppable. So that was just one out of 191 exclusive videos in my coaching program. If you want to unlock the rest of those videos and attend weekly coaching sessions with yours truly, then be sure to click the link in the description so that you can get your dream body, get your dream girlfriend, and make freedom your lifestyle.